14 minutes past 9 now on Kiwi.
All about games. It's games junkie Gerard Campbell from stuff.co.nz.
Let's play tonight. Here we go.
It can only be another Super Mario game classic sound effect. Gosh, that just says game all over it, really, doesn't it? Gerard Campbell, Game Junkie at stuff.co.nz, Game Junkie NZ on Twitter as well. Good morning to you, Gerard.
Good morning, Wammo.
Gosh, it's been how many years? I don't know how many years that Mario Brothers have been around for. Seems like forever.
Oh, yeah, it does seem like forever. It's one of those classic, most identifiable video game characters, isn't it? I mean, how can you not love Mario? I mean, really.
But another title. I mean, are they changing anything here? What's new?
What this one is, I mean, it's Nintendo have brought out over the last year a whole series of their classic, games that appeared on either the GameCube or the DS and that sort of thing, and they've revamped them for the Wii. They've changed the control scheme so you can now use your Wii remote, and the graphics have been sexed up a wee bit, but essentially they're not changed, but they've just, I guess, as Hollywood does with movies, they've reinvented it for the modern genre and modern times, and this one is really good. This is it's a really classic. It's a classic Nintendo platformer, but the beauty that this time is you can actually play 4-player co-op, which is great fun.
Now, what with different characters?
You can get your different characters. One of you can be Mario, someone can be Luigi. Then you've got Yoshi, the little dinosaur thing, and essentially what you can do is that they're the same levels that you'll find in. There was a Nintendo DS game called New Super Mario Brothers. And essentially this is the same. But, you can all pick a character and just see who can get through the level first, who can collect the coins the most and who can, beat the other players. And it really brings in, I tested it with, it's a very family-friendly game, of course, and I tested it with 4 young charges who were sort of aged between 10 and 15, and they just absolutely had a hoot. There was... You had to actually shift out of the lounge because of the shrieks of laughter and joy, and it was hilarious. And and I think the beauty of Nintendo is that and that Mario is that it's the past few weeks we've looked at games like Assassin's Creed and Uncharted 2 and those sorts of things and Modern Warfare 2, and they're all hardcore, violent, full-on action.
Yeah.
And I think with Mario, I don't think you can get much more cutesy and pleasant than Mario. Everything's you would have seen in the video. Everything's bright and cheerful, and I don't know whether you saw it in the trailer, but that catchy music. Do 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 do. The little some of the little characters actually dance to the beat of the music. So there's just these little cutesy things that you can't. It's a bit like Sackboy on the PlayStation 3, Little Big Planet. You just sort of stop and think, oh, how cute is that sort of thing?
Now, are you sure, Gerard, there's not some deep, dark, underlying themes going on here with Mario?
Well, there could be, isn't it? Plumber, big burly plumber, moustache, friend of the kids. Who really knows? It could be. He could be banned for a few years, couldn't he, for some sort of deep dark secret that he does down in Mushroom Town, or
could turn out to be like Noddy. Who knows?
Yeah, bad Noddy. Who knew? I only heard about Noddy the other day. Apparently, how dark and corrupted Noddy and Big Ears was.
That's right. I'm
shocked. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe in a couple of years' time, Mario might have a deep dark secret that. We'll all be shocked at.
What about the gameplay on the Wii? Because the whole thing about the Wii, of course, is the motion control. Does that come into play with this?
Yeah, it does. With the Wii remote, of course, being the motion sensitive, so this one you hold the Wii remote horizontally, and you use the D-pad on the Wii remote to move left and right. But to jump, you flick the remote up. So flicking them up will make them jump. And you can also pick up power-ups like propeller helmets and that sort of thing. And to fly, you basically just flick the remote up. So that's creating like the flying effect, sort of the bouncing up. So so you actually, like most Wii games, you're getting really fairly active. Doing lots of collecting of big coins and plenty of little hint boxes for you to smash on and collect. But I guess something that this game has done, it's probably a departure from a lot of Nintendo ones in the past, is that there's something called the Super Guide in it, which means that if you use up all your lives in one session, it gives you the option of having almost like an AI-controlled Mario running through the course for you. And then you can pick up any time you want. And, I mean, it could be sort of make things a wee bit easier, and I think it was probably a risky move to do that, but I think that it actually adds to the charm of it, because a lot of the later levels do get really difficult, so a lot of younger kids will get frustrated. So maybe having something like this, the Super Guide Mario, will be able to get through the difficult parts, and then they can take over and then just continue from there. But I mean, I think it's just it's just one of those classic, non-offensive, cutesy, games for the Wii, and I think it's the sort of thing that Nintendo itself does extremely well, and as we said before, I mean, Mario's been here forever, and I think he will be here forever,
Well, there's got to be something said for a franchise that can stick around at a time when games are turning ultra realistic and all these amazing graphics and gameplay, and the fact that this can stick around and last, and kids of a newer generation still get into it. It's got to say something for it.
Oh, you have to say something. I mean, obviously the recipes worked. And when you think about it, the stuff that Mario's appeared in hasn't changed dramatically over the years that he's, the games he's appeared in. They've always generally tended to be that same platforming. The variations change. You'll have Mario Kart racing and that sort of thing. Variations have changed, but it's always that. It's a me, Mario, jumping, bouncing, collecting. That same sort of thing. So I think they've really hit the nail on the head and they've stuck with that. And gamers have really embraced it, I think, over the years.
Hey, just very quickly, we should mention that on your Game Junkie blog, you are in the middle of now compiling a list of readers and viewers and listeners' top games of 2009.
Games of the year.
Yeah, they start to roll on in?
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's, at the end of the day, it's always your own personal opinion, but I mean, I think this has been an exceptionally good year for gaming. It really has, despite the fact that it's been a recession and that. I think there've been some really solid, and across every platform, some really solid games coming out. And I'm getting, on the blog, people are saying things like, Uncharted's coming through, Uncharted 2, and you've got Dragon Age Origins on the PC, which is a real old school hardcore RPG from BioWare. The same guys that did Baldur's Gate and that sort of thing. So they've gone back to their roots. That's getting a lot of popular votes from people. And I mean, and I think too that there's games like the sleeper hit that like Batman: Arkham Asylum, which for me came out of nowhere. Really, I didn't really know what to expect from it, and it's proved to be one of the top beat 'em up action games of the year. So so we're sort of compiling that at the moment, and that we'll sort of do, I guess, sort of middle of next month or this month. Now we'll do a sort of wrap up of the blog readers and their favourite games of the year. But I think it'll be a really diverse list, and of course it's going to be highly unscientific. It'll basically be whichever one gets the most votes, and then I'll count it up. So it'll be it'll be interesting. I mean, and how about you? I mean, you're keen on the old Forza 3, so I mean that'll probably be one of your standouts for the year, won't it?
Yeah, it would have to be. I mean, it's still. I returned to it yesterday after a couple of weeks and increased my driver level. And but I tell you what, when you haven't been in front of it for a couple of weeks, you're a little bit rusty, and you got to do a few laps of the track before you start to work out. Okay, this is how this car responds versus that car, and as the cars get faster, of course, the game gets harder as well because the cars are harder to control. So Forza 3 would definitely have to be up there, but I'll have to think about it over the next couple of weeks. And before Christmas, we will come back and have a good rundown of some of the best. And
I certainly think that next year's looking really solid for really good games too. haven't really sort of sat down and looked, see what we're coming for next year. But there's some classics, stuff like Bioshock 2 and Mafia 2 coming from 2K sort of early next year. So I mean, they're going to be, the year's going to hardly be started, and there's going to be 2 really great games coming into. So I think next year will be a brilliant year as well. So it's going to be exciting time. The next 6 to 8 months.
Exactly. All right. Thanks very much, Gerard.
No problem. Thank you, Wammo.
We'll catch him next time. You can find him on Twitter. In the meantime, twitter.com/GameJunkieNZ and over at stuff.co.nz on the Game Junkie blog under the technology.